What's up, everyone? So there's this absolutely wild Avengers Doomsday rumor making the rounds that has everyone losing their minds. And I'm here to tell you, it's complete garbage. But not for the reasons you think. See, while everyone's arguing about whether Franklin Richards is secretly Doctor Doom's son, they're missing the actual plot that's staring them right in the face. And trust me, when I break this down for you, you're going to realize Marvel's been playing 4D chess this whole time. I'm about to expose why this rumor is fundamentally flawed, reveal the real story Marvel's telling, and show you exactly how they're setting up the biggest twist in MCU history. So stick around because this changes everything. Alright, let's cut straight to the chase. The rumor everyone's talking about claims that Franklin Richards is actually Doctor Doom's son from another universe, and that this father-son dynamic will drive the emotional core of Avengers Doomsday. Here's why that's wrong. Marvel just spent an entire movie showing us Wanda Maximoff crossing the multiverse to find her children. They literally had her say, "I'm not a monster, I'm a mother," as her defining character moment. You really think they're going to turn around and give us Doctor Doom saying, "I'm not Doomsday, I'm a daddy"? No, absolutely not. The real plot is much simpler and way more strategic. Doctor Doom doesn't want Franklin as his son, he wants Franklin as his weapon. Franklin Richards possesses the power cosmic that made Galactus himself take notice. Doom needs that power to either defeat Galactus or reshape reality itself. The touching scene we saw in the Fantastic Four post-credits, that wasn't a father recognizing his child, that was a conqueror claiming his ultimate tool. Let's start by tearing apart where this rumor even came from. Some Reddit user claiming to be a Disney marketing manager in Toronto posted this theory and everyone just ran with it. Here's the problem. Disney doesn't have a marketing office in Toronto. Their marketing operations run out of Burbank, California, literally half a mile from where major entertainment decisions get made. Some ABC marketing happens in New York, but the high-level stuff that would involve early Doomsday footage, that's all LA-based. The person even tried to backtrack in the comments saying, "Well, that's not exactly what I am." Classic move when you get caught in a lie. They threw in Toronto because it sounds specific enough to be believable, but vague enough that most people won't fact-check it. This is Scoopers 101. Create credibility through obscure details. "I work for Disney marketing in Toronto." Sounds way more believable than "my friend told me." But when you actually examine it, the whole foundation crumbles. The source is lying, period, which means everything built on top of that lie is suspect. But let's say the source was real. The plot itself is still fundamentally broken, because Marvel just literally did this story. Think about Wanda's entire arc across WandaVision and Multiverse of Madness. She loses her children when the Hex collapses. She can't accept that loss, so she turns to the Darkhold. The Darkhold shows her alternate universes where her children exist with another version of herself. She becomes so consumed by the idea of being with her kids again that she's willing to murder innocent people and destroy entire realities. Her whole motivation was maternal love twisted into something monstrous. "I'm not a monster, I'm a mother" wasn't just a throwaway line. It was the emotional core of her entire character arc. She genuinely believed that her love for her children justified every terrible thing she did. Now you want me to believe that Marvel is going to immediately turn around and give us the exact same emotional engine with Doctor Doom? That he's going to cross the multiverse because he's separated from his son and his paternal love is going to drive him to become a multiversal threat? That's not just lazy storytelling. It's insulting to the audience. Marvel spent 2 years building up Wanda's maternal obsession as this tragic, complex motivation. They're not going to cheapen that by doing Wanda, but he's a dad for their next major villain. The MCU has never been that repetitive with their core emotional themes, especially not back-to-back. They understand that audiences will notice and they'll feel like they're watching the same movie twice. Even if Marvel was willing to recycle Wanda's plot, the logistics of this theory are absolutely insane. Let me walk you through what this rumor is actually suggesting happened. According to the comics this theory is based on, Valeria Richards was originally going to be born as a stillborn child. Franklin Richards, using his reality warping powers, transported that unborn child to an alternate universe where she entered the womb of that universe's Susan Storm. In that alternate reality, Reed Richards had died, so Victor Von Doom had married Sue and helped raise the child, naming her Valeria. Now, this rumor wants us to believe they're taking that incredibly convoluted backstory and somehow applying it to Franklin himself, making him the child who was transported between universes and ended up being raised by an alternate Doom. Do you understand how much exposition that would require? You'd need to explain alternate universes, reality warping powers, interdimensional child transportation, alternate timeline marriages, and genealogical connections across multiple realities. And that's before you even get to the main plot of the movie. Remember, this is a two-part Avengers film that also needs to introduce Robert Downey Jr. as Dr. Doom, explain why Tony Stark's face is under that mask, bring back multiple characters from previous phases, and set up Secret Wars. The idea that they're going to spend precious screen time explaining some cosmic adoption story is ridiculous. Marvel learned their lesson from movies like Dark World and Eternals. Audiences check out when the mythology gets too dense. They're not going to risk losing people with a plot that requires a flowchart to understand. Here's what I think is actually happening. The rumor isn't completely made up. It's based on real comic book storylines, specifically Valeria Richards' origin. But Marvel is using that comic book knowledge as a smokescreen. Think about it. If you're Marvel and you want to throw off leakers and scoopers, what do? You create fake plot points that sound plausible to people who know the comics. You take a real comic book storyline, swap some character names around, and let it leak out through marketing managers in Toronto. The Valeria Franklin switch makes perfect sense as a decoy. Comic book fans hear it and think, oh yeah, that's based on a real storyline, this must be legit. But it's actually just familiar enough to be believable while being completely wrong about the actual plot. Marvel has done this before. Remember the fake Spider-Man No Way Home trailer that had X-Men billboards in it? They deliberately put false information in early cuts to track leaks and misdirect speculation. The Franklin as Doom's son theory feels like the same strategy. It's comic book accurate enough to fool people who know the source material, but it's not the real story they're telling. What's the real story? It's much simpler, and it's been hiding in plain sight this whole time. Here's what's actually happening in Avengers Doomsday, and it's so obvious I can't believe people are missing it. Franklin Richards is the most powerful being we've seen in the MCU so far. His power caught Galactus' attention specifically because it's anomalistic. It's beyond normal cosmic energy. Galactus, a being who devours entire planets for sustenance, considered Franklin important enough to target directly. Doom doesn't want Franklin as his son. He wants Franklin as his weapon. Think about Doom's character. He's not driven by emotional love or family connections. He's driven by the absolute conviction that he is superior to everyone else and that the universe would be better if he controlled it. He doesn't need emotional motivation. His ego is motivation enough. But even Doom recognizes that there are forces in the universe beyond his current power level. Galactus is one of them. The multiverse itself might be another. If Doom is going to achieve his goals of universal dominance, he needs power that matches those threats. Franklin Richards is that power. The scene in the Fantastic Four post-credits isn't a father meeting a son. It's a conqueror identifying his ultimate weapon. When Franklin reaches up to touch Doom's face, he's not recognizing family. He's responding to Doom's will, possibly already under some form of influence or control. Doom has spent years studying the power cosmic. He knows exactly what Franklin represents, the successor to Galactus' power, the key to reshaping reality itself. He doesn't need to be Franklin's father to claim that power. He just needs to control Franklin. And here's where the real conflict comes in. Everyone's talking about some romantic love triangle between Reed, Sue, and Doom,
that's missing the point entirely. The triangle isn't about romance. It's about 3 different approaches to ultimate power. Reed Richards represents scientific curiosity. He wants to understand the universe, to explore its mysteries and unlock its secrets through knowledge and discovery. His relationship with Franklin is protective, but also scientific. He wants to help Franklin control his abilities safely. Doom represents conquest through force. He wants to dominate the universe, to impose his will on reality itself because he believes his vision is superior to everyone else's. His interest in Franklin is purely strategic. Franklin is the tool that will let him achieve that domination. And Franklin himself might have his own ideas about what he wants to do with his power. That's a much more interesting dynamic than some recycled romance plot. It's about different philosophies of power, different visions for the future, and the question of whether ultimate power can ever be used responsibly.
So, there you have it. The Daddy Doom rumor is wrong on every level. The source is lying about who they are and where they work. The plot is a lazy rehash of Wanda's story from Multiverse of Madness. The complexity would bog down the movie with unnecessary exposition. And it completely misunderstands what makes Dr. Doom interesting as a villain. The real plot is much simpler and much more compelling. Doom wants Franklin's power to achieve universal dominance. Reed wants to protect his son from being used as a weapon. And Franklin himself might be the most dangerous player in the game, with power that could reshape the entire multiverse. Marvel isn't giving us a paternity test, they're giving us a battle for the future of reality itself. And honestly, that's way more interesting than some convoluted family drama. The MCU has always worked best when it focuses on clear, understandable conflicts with massive stakes. Heroes versus villains, protection versus conquest, hope versus fear. That's what we're getting with Doomsday, not some soap opera about secret parentage. So the next time you see someone pushing the Franklin is Doom's son theory, remember what I told you here. Marvel is playing a much bigger game than anyone realizes, and they're not going to waste their biggest villain on a recycled plot about missing children. The real story is about power, control, and the question of who gets to decide the fate of the multiverse. And trust me, that's going to be way more satisfying than any family reunion could ever be. What do you think? Does this make more sense than the rumor everyone's been talking about? Let me know in the comments. And make sure to subscribe because I've got more MCU breakdowns coming that are going to blow your mind. Until next time, keep questioning everything you hear, and I'll see you in the next one.